Part 107. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 1061. Chapter 1061 Robbery 10. Chow Xiaofeng wiped all the tears on Xian Yuanxun's white suit, and used the handkerchief on his chest to wipe the makeup on her face that was dizzy from crying. She even slowly took out the powder from Xian Yuanxun's pocket to touch up her makeup, and then took out another just put on lipstick, make sure everything is perfect, and put all the powder and lipstick back into Xian Yuanxun's pocket. Chow Xiaofeng had thought about all the possibilities before she came. She was afraid that she might not be able to control herself in the end, but luckily she had brought her cosmetics. Chow Xiaofeng took a deep breath, showed a bright smile, smiled at her friends, and showed a confident smile. "Let's go." Chow Xiaofeng had a confident smile on her face, held her head high and walked in front like a queen, taking the lead to leave. People who don't know, think that the person who just cried out of sadness and almost lost control is another person. At this moment, she is elegant and calm, and like a noble queen, arrogant and perfect. She didn't need to say anything, everyone followed Chow Xiaofeng's lead and left. The wedding venue was in a mess, and nothing could be used anymore. Even if you wanted to hold the wedding again, you would have to change the venue. Without careful preparation, the wedding would be shabby. They don't care whether the wedding will be held or not. It is no longer important to them. Yuan has become dispensable in their lives. As Chow Xiaofeng's matter came to an end, Qian Yuman's 2-month business trip to London also ended. Today is the day that he will come to London. Looking back carefully at the two of them in London, a lot of things happened, such as finding their mother, meeting Tang Yuge, Chow Xiaofeng, and Yuan, etc. Everything was deeply engraved in their minds. Even though I had only stayed in London for 2 months, I didn't expect that so many things would happen, which was far beyond my expectation. She felt a little attached to the city, and on the plane flying back to Paris, she also made a decision she had to make. During this time in London, she was a little indulgent. Thinking about her unclear relationship with Tang Yuge, she always felt that this was wrong. However, because she still had Tang Yuge in her heart, she always avoided some problems. This kind of relationship should not last, so when she left London, she sent a text message to Tang Yuge, saying that she would see you when you have time, and that we would still be friends again, just friends. Although he did not explicitly refuse, with Tang Yuge's intelligence, he must have understood what she meant. Getting on the plane and turning off the phone, there was another person sitting next to her. It was not Kenny Appa, but the pregnant Chow Xiaofeng, a woman who had just experienced a love injury. At this moment, Chow Xiaofeng's face was no longer sad, but filled with joy of becoming a mother. She broke off the relationship with Yuan and kept a happy mood every day, looking forward to the arrival of her baby. Only when the mother is happy will the child be happy. As for the child in her belly, Yuan didn't know it from beginning to end, and he wouldn't let him know. This child would only belong to Chow Xiaofeng and had nothing to do with Yuan. Chow Xiaofeng can no longer be brought to London. She and Qian Yuman and her group acted out a marriage robbery scene that day, and now she has become the most popular gossip figure in London, and even in Europe. Although the array she brought was so huge that everyone would pass it on, and if she accidentally walked on the road, many people would come over to her and ask for her autograph. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 1062. Chapter 1062 Going back to see my son 1. Chow Xiaofeng can no longer be brought to London. She and Qian Yuman and her group acted out a marriage robbery scene that day, and now she has become the most popular gossip figure in London, and even in Europe. Although the array she brought was so huge that everyone would pass it on, and if she accidentally walked on the road, many people would come over to her and ask for her autograph. In addition, she was pregnant and didn't want Ye Yuan's family to know, so she left this sad city and came to Paris with her friends. As soon as I got off the plane, I would see my little baby whom I hadn't seen for 2 months. I was excited just thinking about it. After landing, she ran out and saw the little baby at the arcade, sitting on Johnny's shoulders, looking straight face, standing at the pickup gate and looking inside. "Little Mickey, have you seen your mother?" "No," little Mickey said with a sullen face, looking inside with a pair of peach blossom eyes exactly like Jianyuman's. "You're so stupid, you can't find your luggage carousel for sure." As expected, little Mickey guessed Jianyuman correctly. Jianyuman couldn't reach her luggage carousel after searching all around. It was Chao Xiaofeng who found her suitcase and solved her problem. Two women, dragging suitcases and holding hands, appeared at the airport pickup gate. "It's here." Although little Mickey still had a straight face, his voice became obviously excited. "It's cool or not? Seeing mommy now is the happiest thing. Godmother, put me down quickly." Little Mickey urged Johnny to put him down, slapping Johnny's face with his little hands until his face turned red. As soon as he landed, little Mickey quickly ran towards his mother with a straight face, and finally showed an expression of joy on his face. His small figure shuttled among the crowd. Before Jianyuman could react, a little Nuno voice spoke. He threw himself at her feet, grabbed her trousers in a twisted manner, and raised his head with a stern face, but forgot to close his eyes of the happy little Mickey. "My little baby, mommy misses you so much." Jianyuman threw away the suitcase and Chao Xiaofeng in her hands, stood down, picked up little Mickey and kissed him the face twice, leaving 2 big lipstick marks on his face. "I haven't seen my mother for 2 months. Although I have always said that I want to act cool, after all, I am only a child over 2 years old. No matter how mature my mind is, my little face will be red and happy, enjoying the kisses and caress of my mother." Jianyuman didn't want to let little Mickey go at all. After kissing the left cheek and then the right cheek, little Mickey's hair was messed up. "Mommy, messing up my hair is not cool at all," little Mickey pouted. Although he complained, his soft little paws hugged his mother's neck and leaned into her arms affectionately. "Ha ha ha, no, 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 my little Mickey is always the coolest." The corners of Jianyuman's happy eyes were moistened. It turned out that leaving her precious son was so uncomfortable, and seeing her again almost brought tears to her eyes. "Mommy," little Mickey suddenly hugged his mother's face and looked at her seriously. "Welcome back." Then he put his little mouth to his and kissed his mother on the face. He didn't forget to kiss her again on the lips. He backed away a little nervously and lowered his head. Jianyuman was flattered. She didn't expect that her precious son, whom she hadn't seen for 2 months, had changed and became so enthusiastic that her enthusiastic family thought she was hallucinating. Oh my God! End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1063. Chapter 1063. Going back to see my son too. Jianyuman's fiery eyes kept staring at little Mickey. Little Mickey felt embarrassed when he was stared at, and moved his face away expressionlessly, but his face was already red, and he was actually embarrassed. "What are you looking at for? Here's my gift. I'll show you when I get home." Jianyuman immediately raised her eyebrows at Chao Xiaofeng as if she had discovered a new world. After receiving the instruction from her friend, she immediately took out her mobile phone and took pictures of the mother and son who had reunited after a long separation. Editing a few photos, little Mickey took a look at Aunt Xiaofeng. "Aunt Xiaofeng, welcome to stay. My little Mickey is so good." The strange Aunt Chao Xiaofeng stretched out her hand and rubbed little Mickey's hair. She didn't mind messing up her hair even more. In the end, without little Mickey's consent, She forcibly held his face and kissed him several times. Down. It's so cute. He is only over 2 years old, but he looks like a little adult. Just because he looks like a little adult, he becomes even more interesting and cute. After picking up Jianyuman, the group returned to the small villa where Jianyuman lived. The villa was only 3 stories tall and had a large garden and fountain. It occupied a small area in the center of Paris where land was at a premium. This villa was a first-year-old gift from Chi-Jean to little Mickey, with a market value of 20 million. He would not hesitate to throw it out for his first grandson. Johnny sent the 3 of them to the villa and drove away in the car. Let's go, Jianyuman picked up little Mickey and ran home happily. The expression on little Mickey's face became slightly strange. He stretched out his little paw and patted his excited mother, and opened his mouth to speak. Mommy. What are you doing, baby? Do you want to take a shower with mommy? Jianyuman raised her eyebrows at little Mickey in a vulgar manner, looking like a strange ant. Little Mickey covered his face speechless for a moment. Why does he have such a mother? After all, you are also a beautiful girl. Can you make an expression that matches the image? His son can hardly stand it anymore. Mommy, there's one more thing I didn't tell you. Don't be in a hurry to run so fast. Little Mickey stretched out his little paws and patted to stop mommy from running so fast. He was also on her shoulders. Could she? Pay attention to your son's life safety. Baby, if you have something to say it quickly. If you have something to say it quickly, Jianyuman said with a smile. Mommy, watch what you say, don't say shit. It's not cool at all to talk like this. Ha ha ha, sorry, I said it smoothly for a while, but do you want to fart or not? Jianyuman said without restraint. Little Mickey has a look of despair on his clothes. He turns his head and doesn't want to see his mother. Can he have an elegant mother instead? Ah! Suddenly, Jianyuman's footsteps suddenly stopped, and her eyes looked at the garden in disbelief. Because she saw that she had never expected that a person would come to her home, a person who surprised her, and he came without any warning. On the cradle chair in the garden, the cradle chair Jianyuman specially prepared for little Mickey, turned out to be Jianyuman's unique chair, with a woman lying on it, enjoying herself with her eyes closed. Under the sunlight, Jianyuman and others were not noticed at all. She has a face that even time cannot leave many traces on her face. Her eyebrows and small cherry mouth are the standard facial features of Kinjia, aren't they? End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1064. Chapter 1064. Going back to see my son 3. On the cradle chair in the garden, the cradle chair Jianyuman specially prepared for little Mickey, turned out to be Jianyuman's unique chair, with a woman lying on it, enjoying herself with her eyes closed. Under the sunlight, Jianyuman and others were not noticed at all. She has a face that even time cannot leave many traces on her face. Her eyebrows and small cherry mouth are the standard facial features of Kinjia, aren't they? Mom Jianyuman hugged little Mickey and started running wildly again, quickly running to Jianxian's side. Jianyuman's exclamation woke up Jianxian, the woman on the cradle chair, and she slowly opened her eyes. Seeing Jianyuman's happy expression, the smile on her face became much warmer. Manman Jianxian called Jianyuman with a gentle smile and stood up to welcome Jianyuman back. Jianyuman's little face was red with excitement at this moment. She was really so excited. She just returned home and her mother was actually at home. Jianyuman, a cruel mother, threw her son into the cradle when she saw her own mother. Little Mickey, who was thrown into the cradle chair like a stone, got up in disgrace and looked at his mother with disdain. There was no resentment in his eyes. At this moment, the word jealousy appeared in his heart. Mommy actually threw away her son for her mommy. Jianyuman discovered that her son was jealous, and very jealous. his little face became angry. Running to Qian Xian'er, Qian Yuman hugged her mother hard and jumped happily while holding her mother in her arms. The young mother Qian Yuman is like a child in front of her mother, holding her mother's waist and acting coquettishly. Okay, okay, I know you are happy. Qian Xian'er, who was almost out of breath, reached out and patted Qian Yuman on the shoulder. Qian Yuman, who had a red face, looked at her mother and asked excitedly, "Mom, why did you come to see me? And didn't tell me in advance, this was such a surprise." "Mommy, I just wanted to tell you that Grandma is here, but you never let me tell you," little Mickey protested dissatisfied. With his small hands and feet, he climbed down from the cradle with difficulty, and then walked to the two of them. Among the people, they looked up at them. "Mom just thinks so much that she doesn't even hear what I want to say," little Mickey protested dissatisfied. Qian Yuman stuck out her tongue. She had just been busy interacting with her son. She really didn't have time for her son to tell her about her mother's visit. "Mom, why are you here?" Qian Yuman asked again. "Uncle Xian asked you to come. Is he here too? And he came earlier than her, and there was no news before." Qian Xian'er shook her head and said with a smile, "I'm here to stay permanently, are you welcome?" Without waiting for Qian Yuman to answer, Xiao Mickey, who was unwilling to lonely with his head, grabbed his pants with one hand. "This villa belongs to me, and of course I welcome Grandma to live in it." Little Mickey told the truth in one word, letting everyone know clearly that this villa was indeed in Little Mickey's name. Qian Yuman stretched out his fist and knocked Little Mickey lightly. Qian Xian'er smiled softly and squatted down. Little Mickey no longer had to raise his head to look at people. "Thank you, Little Mickey." Qian Xian'er was considerate of Little Mickey and kept raising her head, picking him up from the ground. She saw dissatisfaction in the little guy's eyes. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 1065. Chapter 1065. Father and son want to meet? 1. "Thank you, Little Mickey." Qian Xian'er was considerate of Little Mickey and kept raising her head, picking him up from the ground. She saw dissatisfaction in the little guy's eyes. "Mom, why do you want to come to live with me permanently? Although I will definitely nod in agreement, did you have a quarrel with Uncle Xian? If Uncle Xian knew about it, he would definitely obey me." Qian Yuman has not forgotten, Qian Xian'er chose Xian Kaiping at the beginning. Although Qian Xian'er's choice of Xian Kaiping made Qian Yuman a little disappointed, she could no longer live a perfect and happy family of four. However, everyone respected Qian Xian'er's choice and did not put any pressure on her. She was allowed to live whatever life she wanted. None of them, as children, interfered. "Uncle Xian and I are just friends now." Ah, this news made Qian Yuman jump up. She didn't expect that Qian Xian'er would say such a thing. "Are they just friends? Mom, did you really have a fight?" Qian Xian'er shook her head again, smiled and said calmly, without a trace of sadness, "I didn't quarrel with Kaiping. We separated peacefully." "What happened?" "It's nothing, let's go in first and talk about it later." Qian Xian'er hugged her grandson and walked towards the house. Qian Yuman, who was about to go crazy with curiosity, quickly followed her mother in, always looking forward to her mother saying she was willing, and exactly what she was willing to do. When they arrived at the house, Chao Xiaofeng also came in, but he directly found a guest room to live in, leaving the family of three some time to talk. "Actually, when I knew I was Qian Xian'er, I didn't plan to marry him," Qian Xian'er said with a smile. It is said that women's hearts are as deep as the bottom of the sea, but Qian Xian'er's idea was something no one expected. Qian Xian'er has indeed lost her memory, and what she remembers is also fragmentary. When she first woke up, Xian Kaiping appeared in front of her, taking care of her meticulously, making her dependent on her, and fabricating a past for her, erasing her content about marrying Kizan. When she was filled with joy and thought that she had found a good match and met the person who belonged to her, her restless heart found a destination. Faced with Xian Kaiping's proposal to get married, she agreed. But that was only agreed by Jian Xian'er, who had lost her memory. Even at that time, she didn't know if she was in love with him. She just learned from Xian Kaiping's tone that she seemed to love him very much, and more as a child, slowly accept the setting. In addition, Xian Kaiping was very kind to her, gentle, considerate and caring, so I guess most women would also fall into this trap. If Jian Xian'er had not met Qi Zhan or Tang Wentao, then she would really have chosen to live in the world that Xian Kaiping weaved for her until she grew old. She has finally seen through the essence, understood her past, and has become much clearer about her confused past. After everything calmed down, Jian Xian'er stayed with Xian Kaiping. The past is over, and she doesn't want to live in the past, so she chooses to leave Xian Kaiping and start over. As she is now, she is completely new to herself, she accepts the world and starts a new life again. She had cut off from the previous 3 relationships, so whoever she would be with in the future, she would follow her heart and make the most correct answer, regardless of whether her memory would be restored or not. That day, when countless people pointed at Xian Kaiping's deeds, she saw his gentleness and was not willing to hurt him mercilessly. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1066. Chapter 1066, Father and Son Want to Meet? 2. She had cut off from the previous 3 relationships, so whoever she would be with in the future, she would follow her heart and make the most correct answer, regardless of whether her memory would be restored or not. That day, when countless people pointed at Xian Kaiping's deeds, she saw his gentleness and was not willing to hurt him mercilessly. So she only chose to cancel the wedding and not leave with Jian Yuman and the others. She didn't want to leave him right now. He was already in pain because of the exposure of his lies and didn't want him to be embarrassed in front of everyone. He was even more afraid of her leaving, which would hit him hard. He once again hurt the man who once loved him. She didn't want to be truly sad and painful to the person she was good to, so she chose to stay for a while longer. She used this time to slowly tell Xian Kaiping her thoughts after he calmed down. There was no third person, only 2 people, using the gentlest words to express her truest thoughts. He slowly accepted it, and finally chose to respect her. After leaving Xian Kaiping, her first thought was to find Jian Yuman. She is her daughter, and she has also witnessed Jian Yuman's grief in order to find her mother. In the past few years when she disappeared, Xian Kaiping deliberately erased her whereabouts, so that Tang Yuj and other forces could not find Jian Xian'er's whereabouts. Let alone find out that Li Ning is Jian Xian'er. Even in this situation, she still insisted on looking for her mother. Jian Xian'er, who thought it was Li Ning at first, was very moved. She felt guilty for this daughter, and since she didn't know where to go, she came to accompany her daughter and live with her. So Mom, you came here without saying hello and gave me a big surprise. Jian Yuman was really happy. It turned out that her mother was coming back to live with her. That's great. Jian Yuman smiled happily, danced and suddenly rushed upstairs. This child Jian Xian'er shook her head helplessly and turned to play with her lovely grandson. However, she only found out about her grandson's existence when she came here, and her mind immediately thought of Xian Yingzhe, who liked her daughter, Tang Yuj, who obviously still had feelings for her, and Kenny, who was excellent in all aspects. Suddenly I discovered that my daughter's love life is also very exciting. There are many suitors and even more admirers. Just like her, I don't know who will end up with it. Jian Yuman suddenly ran away, found her bag, and took out her mobile phone from the bag. I turned off my phone when I got on the plane. After getting off the plane, I kept communicating and chatting with my son and completely forgot to turn it on. As soon as the phone was turned on, Jian Yuman immediately found her father's contact information and dialed the number. When I dialed, I also saw a lot of text messages on my phone. I glanced at the sender of the text messages and found that they were all sent by Tangyuj. As soon as the call was connected, Jian Yuman said excitedly, "Dad, I mind if you buy the fastest plane to Paris immediately, and we will live together as a family of 4 for a while." Jian Yuman, who was suffering from serious jet lag, didn't even realize that it was midnight on her father's side. As soon as the call was connected, she said a lot of things in a panic. Papa Chi on the other end of the phone was still asleep, and he was not speaking very clearly, with a strong sense of casualness. "What's wrong, Manman?" Jian Yuman on the other end of the phone remembered that it was still 3 or 4 in the middle of the night at her father's place, but she still couldn't help but be excited. "Dad, wake up, Mom is here." End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1067. Chapter 1067 Father and Son Want to Meet? 3. Xian'er, where are you? Dad Chi on the other end of the phone was much more awake and had already sat up from the bed. "What is your mother doing over there? What are you doing? I'm going to tell you the great news now. Mom and Xian Kaiping are now friends, and Mom will live with me in Paris in the future. So Dad, in order to get back together with Mom, hurry up and buy a plane ticket to fly. Come over." The other end of the phone was quiet. You might have thought you were sleeping, and what you heard might have been talk in your sleep. How could you possibly hear that Jian Xian'er and Xian Kaiping had become friends again? It had been less than 10 days since he left London. What had happened during those 10 days? Jian Yuman didn't care whether her father accepted it or not, she kept talking anyway. "Mom said that we have to start life again in the future. It doesn't matter whether we can recover our memories or not. Finally, the previous relationships and marriages will all go with the flow. If Dad comes to live with us for a while now and stays with Mom, maybe Mom will fall in love with Dad again. When the time comes for you two to get married, we can live a happy family again. Then call Lili back and we will be a family of 5. For a family of 5, these 4 simple words contain their deepest desire. Over the past many years, she has always been 2 people. I was with my mother in San Francisco, I was with Tangyuj when I returned to City S, and I was with little Mickey in London. She always felt that something was missing, and now she knew how a family of 2 could be compared to a perfect family of 5. She has a father, a mother, a sister, and a lovely son. There is nothing happier than a family reunion. Dad, buy a plane ticket and fly over quickly, make good arrangements for your work, come for a long vacation, and then spend more time to let Mom become your wife again. A beautiful life has begun to be drawn in Jian Yuman's mind. There is a family in the blueprint. She can work hard at work and have a happy family after get off work. She is no longer alone. "Okay, I'll fly there tomorrow," Qi Zhan decided in an instant. After hanging up the phone with his daughter, he even looked at the screen of his phone for a long time. He kept his eyes open until dawn, and he couldn't sleep at all. When he first left London, he was very disappointed and thought that he would never be able to be with Jian Xian'er again in this life. I thought that the initial divorce had completely severed the relationship between the two, but it turned out that it was not too late. Although he is not confident that they can get back together after going to Paris this time, they will definitely not get back together if they don't work hard. No matter what the outcome is, he will happily accept the outcome. "Xian'er, my favorite Xian'er." Not long after Jian Yuman hung up the phone, she remembered the call before she could open the text message on her phone to see what Tangyuj had sent her. Seeing Tangyuj's call displayed on the phone, he hesitated whether to answer it. She had obviously decided not to have a bed partner relationship with him, but she didn't expect that the moment she saw his phone call, all her decisions were wiped out. "Where are you?" As soon as the call was connected, Tanyuz's angry voice came to mind from the phone. "I'm back in Paris, and my work in London is over. After 3 days of rest, she will start the next round of work. There is still a lot of work to do in the future, and she will be very busy according to her schedule." End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 1068. Chapter 1068. Father and son want to meet? 4. I'm back in Paris, and my work in London is over. After 3 days of rest, she will start the next round of work. There is still a lot of work to do in the future, and she will be very busy according to her schedule. Go back to Paris. Do I allow you to go back to Paris? He was so angry. Tanyuj went to find Jianyuman early in the morning, only to find out that she had checked out of the hotel, and even returned to Paris a day early, but left without telling him. Tanyuj was so angry that he almost ran away. The next time he called her, he turned off his phone. Then he sent her a bunch of text messages and continued to call her. It's not easy to turn on the phone, and I'm actually on the phone with someone else. Psycho Jianyuman turned around and hung up the phone. Tanyuj, who was hung up on the other end of the phone, waited angrily for his cell phone. He walked out of the villa with his passport and wallet in his hand, and a plane ticket to Paris in his hand. This woman actually sent him a text message, hinting that the two of them would return to being friends. It's ridiculous. I won't be responsible if I sleep with you. You think too much. After Jianyuman hung up the phone, Tanyuj's call was still coming in. She directly silenced Zion, out of sight and out of mind, and played with the fur of Cupid, the pet dog who had followed Jian back. In the afternoon, Jianyuman suggested going shopping to buy clothes and other daily necessities for Chao Xiaofeng and Jian's mother. But little Mickey started to make a fuss and didn't want to go with everyone. I don't want to go. You women are going shopping. Why should I, a man, go? That's not cool at all, and he doesn't want to. After Jianyuman's insistence, Xiao Mickey still disagreed, and finally had no choice but to let Chao Xiaofeng and Jian go together. Fortunately, Chao Xiaofeng often came to Paris to see Jianyuman before, so she was already familiar with Paris. She knew where the things she wanted were without Jianyuman taking her with her. Jianyuman, who stayed at home with her son, played Othello with her son. This is the latest puzzle game that little Mickey has learned. As a person with high IQ, how could Jianyuman not know these things, and she is also a master among them, so she wants to. If you beat little Mickey, it would be a massacre without any need to use your brain to think, okay. She can't win without bragging. Mommy, I win again. Little Mickey looked at his mother indifferently. How could this happen? How did you leave just now? Why do I only have so few white pieces left? What did you do to my white pieces? Jianyuman looked at the white pieces that were being massacred with a broken face. Little Mickey smiled contemptuously with a crooked corner of his mouth and pointed at his brain. Mommy, you need to use this place to play chess. Being despised by her son, Jianyuman flipped over the table in anger and acted like a rogue. I don't care, I didn't lose. Mommy, be mature. Little Mickey looked helpless and looked at Jianyuman like an idiot. Mommy is very mature. She puffed out her chest and shook it. These mature jade rabbits have already fed your kid. Little Mickey's mouth twitched, and he looked hopeless. What kind of mother did he have? At this moment, the doorbell came to mind. Jianyuman looked unconvinced and thought about how she could lose just now. She clicked the doorbell button to see who was coming. Mom and Xiaofeng both have keys, and even Johnny also has a key because he often comes to take care of little Mickey. When Jianyuman saw the familiar evil face appearing at the door of the villa through the screen, and turned to look at her son, she went completely crazy. Build a building and grab red envelopes. Pin it, go to the top of the comment area. Monthly tickets and recommended tickets, please give them to me. Am I being cute and rolling around to buy meat? Beg. I heard that I am praised for my handsomeness and my style. There will be more updates during the day tomorrow. How much more you praise me depends on how much you praise me. Bring it on. Long time no hear. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 1069. Chapter 1069. Father and son want to meet? 5. When Qianyuman saw the familiar evil face appearing at the door of the villa through the screen, and turned to look at her son, she went completely crazy. Qianur, I'm here. The evil Tanyuj smiled and waved at the video camera. That monster face is none other than Tanyuj, the monster. Why did he come to Paris? Why did he come here without telling her, and how did he know where her home was? Thinking about Tanyuj's ability, it is not difficult to know her family, but does he know that he has a son? Qianyuman ran to her son like the wind, picked him up and ran upstairs, threw him into the guest room, paused and told him a lot, then returned to the distance and continued to stare at Tanyuj. Monster face. Qianur, when are you going to open the door for me? Tanyuj looked unhappy. He had been standing for a long time. Why didn't she open the door for him? Why are you here? Qianyuman honestly had no intention of opening the door, and knew in his heart that he had to open the door, otherwise he would definitely blow up the door and come in. She still wants to live a good life in a wonderful environment, and does not want to have a hole in the door. Open the door quickly, Tanyuj spoke very forcefully. He found out that she was missing early in the morning. He was already in a very bad mood. He was still asking questions. If she didn't open the door, he would really blow up the door. Preparation. Okay, Qianyuman pouted her cherry lips and opened the door for him helplessly. Qianyuman looked around and made sure that little Mickey was not here. Tanyuj came in not long after, with a powerful aura, like a high-ranking emperor, who had the power of life and death over Qianyuman. His face was also foul-smelling, and he didn't blink when he saw Qianyuman's eyes. Qianyuman, who felt guilty, didn't dare to look at him, like a child who had done something wrong. He lowered his head to admit his mistake and stood there blankly. Tanyuj walked slowly towards Qianyuman with a dark face. Looking at her expression of making a mistake, he felt better. At least this silly woman realized where she had made a mistake and had the attitude to admit it. Sighed. Qianyuman. Yes. Qianyuman raised her hand, with a flattering smile on her face. You're pretty awesome. Tanyuj was obviously praising someone, but his tone didn't sound like a compliment, but rather like he was torturing her. No, I am no better than you. I am just a grain of sand in this world. Qianyuman had a humble attitude and kept her posture very low. Even she herself did not realize that she was at this moment. She looks like a little daughter-in-law who has done something wrong and is waiting for her husband to teach her a lesson. While Qianyuman was talking, little Mickey, who had been told not to come out of the guest room, stuck his head out from the crack in the door and looked curiously at the place where the sound was transmitted downstairs. What is mommy so nervous about? There must be something fishy. There was an incomprehensible expression on her serious little face, which is representative of a completely mentally overaged child. Little Mickey ignored his mother's warning just now, moved his little body out of the guest room, and walked slowly downstairs. Downstairs, Tanyuj was still sullen, looking at the woman in front of him who was smiling very flatteringly. He was very happy when he saw her, and he was angry when he thought that she wanted to draw a clear line with him. He was also very angry when he saw her flattering expression. I was angry and annoyed, and I didn't know what to say to teach her a lesson. Do you still want to add more updates? You know, brag. Brush up. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 1070. Chapter 1070 Father and son want to meet? 6. Downstairs, Tanuj was still sullen, looking at the woman in front of him who was smiling very flatteringly. He was very happy when he saw her, and he was angry when he thought that she wanted to draw a clear line with him. He was also very angry when he saw her flattering expression. I was angry and annoyed, and I didn't know what to say to teach her a lesson. Chen Chen, you keep your attitude very low. When you and I texted each other this morning, you seemed arrogant. You even said that we would only be friends from now on. I am obviously very humble. Qian Yumantian shamelessly argued that it was obviously her fault. Let me tell you, don't even think about ending the relationship between us casually. Even if one day we become friends, I will have to mention it. Tanuj pointed at himself, with a ferocious expression and a domineering tone, like a superior emperor, swearing his right. She just can't say the end. Where are you? Qian Yuman's words of protest suddenly stopped. His eyes bulged and his breathing became long. He suddenly rushed over and hugged Tanuj forcefully. Tanuj, who was suddenly hugged, did not expect to be hugged by Qian Yuman. He was really ready to get angry just now and let her understand how serious the matter was and not to stop their relationship casually. Unexpectedly, this woman suddenly hugged him. At this moment, Tanuj's face was facing the door, lecturing Qian Yuman, who was standing by the door. Just behind him, there was a small man walking down the stairs leisurely and wandering not far from Tanuj. The face that resembles Qian Yuman's is full of curiosity, and he pokes his head curiously to look at the man opposite his mother. Who is this man? Why are you so cruel to mommy? Mommy seems to be afraid of him. Qian Yuman saw little Mickey approaching them, and her words of protest turned into exclamations. She hugged Tanuj without thinking, and she must not let him turn around. If little Mickey was seen, she would have given birth to the fact that one of his sons survived was known to him. Although she knew that sooner or later he would find out that they had a child, she wanted to try her best to hide it, maybe just hide it. In her heart, she was glad that her son was 70% like her and only 23% like Tanuj. As for whose personality she resembled, she didn't know. There was no cold-faced gene in the family, but the son was born with a sullen face one night, as if everyone owed him a lot of money. Don't think that if you hug me, I won't continue to settle accounts with you. Although Tanuj was still grunting and not happy, the anger in his heart disappeared without a trace long before she hugged him. She has a conscience, she doesn't really just want to be friends with him. Not far away, a small figure walked toward her. Qian Yuman was so frightened that her hair stood up. She pointed at her son upstairs, glared at him, and ordered her to go upstairs immediately. Little Mickey received his mother's anger and looked at Tanuj's back with more and more curiosity. What's wrong with you? Tanuj felt something was wrong with the woman holding him, and reached out to push her away. Without thinking, Qian Yuman clasped his head with one hand, brought her little mouth up, and kissed Tanuj's mouth forcefully. She also directed her son to move quickly with her left hand. Tanuj also didn't expect that this little woman would be enthusiastic if she said she was passionate, so he said how could she be willing to leave such a great male like him behind? It was just a tantrum before, but Tanuj also had a temper, so he just lost his temper after the kiss. I am not feeling well today and I am suffering from a headache. I am really helpless and can only update once and make up for it tomorrow afternoon. Happy New Year's Eve, everyone. End of this chapter.